show you how we'll do those animations using frames and bounds and positions that we calculate relative to other views. This afternoon, we'll try to recreate the same thing using constraints and see how that is easier in some ways, harder in other ways. So without further ado, I have for you Jocelyn Boyd. See one out so you can see it very clearly. Okay.
Okay. Hello. I'm a little nasally from my cold. I'm sorry. And let me know if you can't. Can you hear me? Okay. In my head, I sound really weird. Okay. So you had to make a button. Don't we love buttons? They're awesome. And then the first thing I did was I deleted the main storyboard file name base. So I took that away. Turn it off. Why are we going away? Go away. There you go. And then here for the applications to manifest, I don't know what that means, but I just know I have to delete the storyboard there. That one. And then, oh yeah. And then I deleted main.storyboard. Goodbye. You will be missed. Okay. And then, what else I did? Oh yeah. And let's see, that was it. There. I am doing what Ram told me to do, which was, what am I doing, Ram? What? Levi, what am I doing? Yes. Thank you very much. So I'm going to do that. And then I changed this one to Windows C. And then I put window equals UI window frame UIC main Windows. I don't know. Alex.
The whole screen.
The whole screen. Thank you.
If you were measuring from certain points, where would you measure? Up, the edge of the screen, right? All within
Say that one more time. One more time. Okay, what? Where? Okay. Yeah, I missed that. I wasn't there for that. with it. And what's that? Oh, yeah. And then windows and make key visible. That one. And I think that's it. Yeah. Hmm? Which one? Which state? I don't know. Shows the window and makes it the key window. This is a convenient method to show the current window and position it in front of all the other windows at the same level or lower. If you only want to show the window, change its hidden property to false. Cool? Cool? Alright, moving on to view controller. And let's see, what did I do here? Oh yes, I'm making my button. Let's start a lazy bar. I'll call this my button. Let's type UI button. And just gotta initialize that so I don't get any errors. A lazy bar. It's not a closure. It is a closure. Yay! Okay, it's a closure. My block of code. My block of code there.
Yeah, those comments. At the end of the curly bracket.
Hmm?
At the end of the curly bracket.
Okay. Huh?
In the lazy bar.
Uh-huh.
And I have curly braces. The first one and the last one of it.
Uh-huh.
It runs after it.
Yeah.
That's what it runs.
Okay. You seem to know what he's talking about.
I just see it as an initializer.
Initializer. Okay.
So that we have access to
Calling the closure. Okay. So inside of that, yeah, create a variable. Set button equal UI button. Initialize that. And button sets title. I just said press me. And then dot normal. And the button and background color. I just did just black. And button and target. And it did self. I don't have an action at the moment. Just gonna leave it there. Select that one. And I put match up inside. don't have a method yet. I have to make that. So yeah. So at object C. So I'm making my action for my button. So the function. Button pressed. Sender UI. What? Listen. This is for the alert. So when the button is pressed, the message comes up. So alert equals UI alert controller. And I just did it this way. Because you don't have to do it this way. Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you to come up.
Okay.
She's in the middle of making the action, right? We have a kind of placeholder here. Can someone guide me from here? No. All right, what should I do?
Backspace.
Oh, you use no. Okay, got it. Cool. Cool. Say that again. This? Like that? Sorry. Destructive? placeholder. Doesn't like that. Looks like we need a return. Anything else? Okay, then tell me how to do that.
And for now, there's another visualizer you can use the button instead of frame. I'm not using it for right now. But I use that on my 14.
What do you want to do?
When I say initializer, what does that mean?
This thing here. So, no, but what do you want to do to it?
Right there, instead of initializing the button without arguments, you can find a different init function. So if you backspace, looking for any, this is multiple options.
I'm trying to do this. No.
Or you can see it now. So those things have read operators.
I'm fine, as I said, do. Within the value? So if we can go there. So yeah? and see if it changes. You think it'll change? This one?
Go down. Go down to there. Do the little.
Well, right now you're not calling the button anywhere. And what is inside the closure, since it's a lazy variable, it's only called when it's being called. So the call is not called. Oh. Yeah.
Because that lazy bar is never referenced, never actually use it, never actually gets that. You put that on something. Now we got a button. Nice. All right, Chris, well, there's one more thing we want to do. We're going to sub you into Q. We just want to add another view. Thank you, Pierre.
What exactly, David, what do we need to do?
Add a view.
Charlie, please don't. Adam, can you help me with that, please? Wait. That's on line 14.
Kimball, when Adam says do the same thing as you did on line 14, what does he say? Not sure what
These are doubles, right? We're using doubles? Or? Okay. What should I make the sizes? The strings. I don't. I think they're random. I don't know. No, right? So 100 again?
No.
Okay. What's next?
What is that arrow mean?
Oh, missing a return. What else is next? Or are you good, Kendall? Or anyone else? In here, or so not?
How do you make sure it's going to be
Do we add the sub view? Oh, wait. Can we run it yet? Do we have to change the color? You just have to make it the same white, or make it anything but, right? There we go. Oh, this is what 100 looks like.
Thank you, Crystal.
Okay, before we get into animating, I want to show you a few things that we can do with our UI. Yes.
So, this one seems to be rectangle, like,
Kind of sucks, right?
aspect.
Oh. It is correct. It's not constrained. You're positioning it absolute on the screen. You're just saying from this point X, Y, here's how big to draw this.
So, like, what is like the point of it? Is like you can equivalent of equivalent to the triangle here, but it's high. Okay. What happens if you put it in the same exact position? Which one sits above the other, or?
Ooh, that's a good question. Let's play with it. So these are going to be in the same spot. So right now, if they start with the same origin, the same XY, my view is under my button. But maybe the order in which they are added as subviews matters. Ah, okay. So if they're added in the same spot, the order in which they are added matters. Does everyone see that?
You just create a separate function that has like Excel view and subview for each of that, and just call that function and you do the row, whatever order you place those. Same thing with both.
Yeah. Yeah.
As for like the lazy bars,
Guys,
of the background colors and title color and all of that stuff.
mhm.
Is it better to put that in a function or
I would put it all in here. Think of this basically as if you are defining that object. So it's like just a more complex initializer. It's a good question. You guys want to see some cool stuff? Has anyone played with the layer on a view? You've seen people do it. Ayula's done it? Let's have a look. So every view, which UI button is a subclass of, has something called a core animation layer, which is used for rendering. What is core animation? We'll probably find out more. Button.layer lets us get access to all these things that have to do with the actual size and shape and way that it exists. For example, we can set the corner radius, the radius to use when drawing rounded corners for the layer's background. Animatable. So I can set a value here. I don't know. Let's try it out. We're dealing with frames, so this is a little rough. We just want to see what happens. I set the corner radius of my button to be 10. Look at that, it's a little round. I'm going to move these so they're now in the same spot. Cool. It's a little round. What if I made it 20? It's a lot of round. What if I made it 15? It's a decent amount of round. That looks the most rounded. Your corner radius, if you want it to look the most rounded, should probably be equal to about half of the smallest dimension. So the width here is 30, the height's bigger than that. And it looks pretty good rounded because when I set my corner radius, it's trying to round out this view from 15 down, all the way to 15 points to the right. And so it gives the effect of being rounded. Another way of looking at that might be to look at this square we've got down here, this view, and say the corner radius is equal to button dot, I don't know, layer? No, this is view. That's why. Whoops. View dot, I don't know, layer dot, I don't know, border width? What? What's corner curve? I don't know. Maybe that divided by 2. I don't know. But if you want to create perfect circles and you've got a square, just say you're going to round out by half of the width or the height. Why didn't that work? Damn. Maybe layer isn't about the size of the object, but we do know about frame, right? View.frame. I don't know, I hope there's something in here having to do with height or width. Oh, nice. So maybe that divided by the frame's height divided by 2. I hope I see a circle. Nice, look at that. It's like a really appealing looking circle. Do you guys like that? So now if you ever make a view, you can make it a circle. Even if you have a view in your storyboard, you can make it a circle. You can just set that layer.corner radius equal to half of that square's dimensions. We're drawing stuff now, guys. It's pretty cool. Let's see, I want to show you one more thing. If you remember, we use this lazy so that this isn't initialized right away. but also so that we could use self in there. So we can use properties of the view controller. So let's say I wanted to, I don't know, instead of giving this an absolute position, set it relative to the view. I can look at the view's frame. I can look at its something called a mid-x, which is the coordinate in the center of the rectangle. I can say, put this right in the center. Now, let's say I make this y of 100. I'm going to make this perfectly round as well. Let's say self, I'll just say this dot width divided by 2. Width and height are the same, so it kind of doesn't matter. Let's see where it goes. Cool. Press me. It's right in the middle. We press the button. One last thing, kind of similar to our constraints, if we know where one view is, we can use that view's dimensions to figure out where we might put another view. So I've said this X button, I've said this button's X should be the center of the view. Now if I want this view to be somewhere else relative to it, I could say, hey, for my X dimension, I don't know, hey, why don't you make it equal to self.drop button, or button, sorry, I made another version of this that I'm referring to. Self.button.frame. We could say, I don't know, something like mid-x. What do y'all think of that? Hope it works. Why doesn't it work? Damn, it has no member button. That's because I'm copying the wrong thing. So I've got my button, I've got my frame.midx. The Y position probably needs to correspond to that same button, just so that it's not in some wonky spot. So I'm going to say this might be the, I don't know, min x plus 200. So on the screen, what that means is I want this circle to be centered to the smallest x value. So if this button takes up 50 points, then the smallest x value is going to be all the way to the left, right? Coordinate plane. The smallest y value is going to be the furthest to the top. Just plotting stuff. And so I am going to align this view to the left side of the button. Let's see what happens. Sure hope it works. No, I used the wrong value. Let's run that again. All right, kind of weird. We could tinker with it. We could say like, hey, this is aligned to something in a weird spot. This is somewhere on the left. So my left side of this view is aligned to the mid-x of the button. So right here is aligned to here. Let's play around with that. Let's say I want it to be aligned to the min-x. But these views are different sizes. So I could say the min-x, I know we're doing math now and it's really fun. The min-x minus my button dot frame dot width divided by 2, which is to say the middle all the way to the left, because this guy is not the same size. It's twice as much. Let's see if that changes where it's lined up. Oh, nice. Looks pretty centered. Isn't this annoying? Wouldn't you rather use constraints? No, really. What are you talking about? This is horrible. Okay. Not auto layout constraints. All right. Well, we've got this all set up. That's nice. We've got two circles looking nice, kind of set up with each other. We're going to take a break, and then we will talk about how we get those circles to interact. I'm doing it right now. Okay. A little warm. Yeah. I can't tell if it's like the sick warm or the room warm. It's like some. It's like tell the view to do some stuff. No. Sorry. Sorry if you wanted to make people laugh. One of my friends, who's like probably the most brilliant coder I've ever met, Did you ever hear of Neopets? Neopets. Neopets. It was like kind of like Pokemon, but just like some online portal. It's a virtual pet website. It's like a Tamagotchi online
Oh
almost.
my gosh, Neopets!
Neopets, yes.
I was a monster at Neopets.
He loved it so much that he wanted to recreate it in like 2004 when there was no Stack Overflow, no nothing. Just like, I need to make this. I love it so much.
That's why I learned HTML is from the guild website.
Yeah. Of course. Look at this beautiful UI.
Oh my gosh!
Let's see. What are they running?
David, you're gonna make me fall down to my hole. I'm not coming back to pursue these. I'm gonna play Neopets for the rest of my life.
I bet it's like a game and like a freemium and like all this stuff that has since been recreated by everyone. Oh, they're on GitHub. They must be somewhat contemporary. Oh, that's just AMP. Never mind. Facebook.net. Wow. The good old days. Oh my god. All right, let's run it. Oh, come on. Okay, let's get started again. If anyone wants an ambitious project, just recreate Neopets. You could call it like new pets. All right, push this repo to GitHub if you want to follow along. There's some cool stuff. No, I pushed up what we just did, and now we're going to add to it. So we've got our views. Yes, I appreciate the enthusiasm. Look at these amazing views. They're circular. They're wonderful to look at. This one almost fits the whole thing. I'm going to just make this press. I bet you all, if you hold down the repo, can make that change yourself. All right, we've got our buttons. Come on, my friend. Button and a view. Button. Let's see why we need this Objective-C here. I'm going to try building it. I get an error. Argument selector refers to instance method that is not exposed to Objective-C. Interesting. So we've been making these functions like our IB actions and stuff, and they were directly linked to Interface Builder. But now we need to be, if we are using this selector guy, we need to be providing some interoperability for Objective-C. And so anytime you're going to use a selector for a function, it has to be marked with Objective-C. You're going to see that error a million times. It's going to be super tight, hella rad. Okay? So here's what I want to do. By the end of this morning, I want to see this guy move. When I press this button, I want to see a bunch of things. Let's first just make it move. Has anyone looked into animate or animation at all? Yeah, keeping your hand is up, and I get so excited. That's okay. So there's a static, actually it's probably a class function, but on UI view itself, so not looking at an instance method, but on UI view itself, there is a void function called animate. It animates changes to one or more views using the specific duration. What do you think that means? What does with duration mean? Ayula. Yeah. It's saying how long this animation should last. Let's take 5 seconds to count out 5 seconds. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a lot of seconds, right? Usually animations are no more than like a second and a half. Just keep that in mind as like a loose best practice, because then you lose people's attention. The whole point of animation is that humans sense movement. We notice when things move, right? If you go and you stare at something for a while, ooh, should we do the inattention thing? All right, hold on, quick digression. Yeah, check this out. The bear inattention test. Okay, I'm gonna show you a video of people passing a ball. I know, it's very, very exciting. Okay. I'm pretty pumped. So, there's something called selective attention. Come on over. You ready? All right, so I want you all to count the number of times that the ball gets passed in this video. I think it goes for less time than that. I could be wrong though. There you are, Bear. Okay, let's start over. Ready? Players in white. Players in white. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. How many passes did you count? I got it wrong. Did you see the gorilla? So this is a very silly test. But if we are paying attention to one thing, we tend not to notice other things, etc. I don't know, I just really like that test. That was a cool one. We focus on motion, right, to get our attention. That's the whole point of animations on our screens, is if something moves, we look at it. Like when you see a pop-up and say it's the year 2003, and it's like, hey, shoot this water gun, like, then you're gonna click on that ad. So our animations are the ways that we will move views within our view controllers to try to get people's attention. We can make them wiggle, we can make them do a whole bunch of stuff. Right now we're gonna focus on animating using the frame of our view. So using the X and Y coordinates and the space between the top and the bottom and the left and the right of our default view here, we can move things. Just gonna be some simple math. First thing I wanna do is I'm going to look at what this animate thing does. I'm gonna say, let's make something last 1.5 seconds. And now this animations thing, what is that, Kevin? Oh, it's a closure, and it's great. There are no arguments for this closure. It doesn't return anything. Really all it is some space for you to do whatever the heck you want. That's how animations work. So in this closure, I could just add numbers. You know, I could do anything. But what do you think we want to do with this closure? Tia. We want to move, sorry, say that again? Cool. Sounds good to me. Right now, what I want to do is just see my view move. Let's try that. Ready? It's going to be really exciting. So I'm going to say, I don't know, something like this. Self.myView dot frame dot, ooh, there's something on frame called origin, the point that specifies the coordinate of the rectangle's origin. So this is where the guy starts out. I'm going to say where this guy starts out, which is the frame that we initialized it with, let's make its y increase. And if I look at this, why do I want its y to increase? I want it to move, and to go down the screen is to increase the y value. Just, it's a coordinate plane, 0, 0 is here, gets bigger to the right, gets bigger going down. So let's say y plus equals 200. That's all I want to do right now. Let's see if we can get it to work. Ready? Whoa. 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 It's gone though. Sunny.
On line 30, when you have animate on UI view, that's the same for any UI view, and then within that closure block, you indicate specifically which view.
Yeah, so this is a class level function, right? So it's static or a class probably defined function. This is just saying like, I know how to do all the animation, you just gotta tell me what you want to change. And so it's saying over the course of 1.5 seconds, and I will smooth it out for you, make this change in that y things coordinate.
Well, what did you line view not animate? Why do you have to have another
Because this is, it's like built out of the box for you, and what it's the same thing as is like double.py. It's just like animations are a thing that we save for any view to be able to do. But really, again, this is just some closure where anything could happen.
But if you wanted to animate a button, would you do UI button dot animate, or would it still be UI view dot animate?
So what is a button that it's subclass of? Yeah. Subclass of UI control, which is a subclass of UI view. So any UI view you could animate. Because really anything that shows up with space, anything that shows up in space here can be animated. What happened by the end of that? It was really upsetting. Yeah, it's gone. I'm so upset too. Okay. We could do something like that. We could probably do something really easy like that with constraints later. Sorry? What else? No, I love ideas.
Oh, I was going to say instead of putting back to
Have it come up from the south. It left the screen. Because what we literally did, let's run it again and look at it. What we did was we actually changed its frame. We changed the coordinate for y. So it fell 200, fell 200, fell 200. Its frame is now beyond the bounds of our screen, which is upsetting. Yes? Yep, it's still the frame. So the frame can just be changed. Like you're not setting a new frame. Okay. Yeah, we could say something like, let's set up a variable in the view did load. It'll be like original y is equal to my button dot frame dot, I don't know, what's it called? Origin dot y. I'm going to make that just some variable, that we could say, I guess if that guy's lazy, I should probably make this lazy. And that's going to be some int. And so when I call the view did load, it's going to set up so that I know the original position y-wise of my guy here. Come on, man. Just give me the thing I want. Self.myButton. My button dot frame dot origin dot y. All I'm doing is storing a value. Now I could say, I don't know, we could probably do some math to figure out where the edge of the screen is. But we could also say, if it's less than 600, do that. Else, self.myView, come on. Origin y is equal to original y. What am I doing here? What should we expect to see?
So if it goes past the 600, it's supposed to go back to the original spot.
Yeah. Yes.
You do go to the top and then going down.
Say that again?
When you get to the top and then you just going down. And then I tell my view that thing. I need this going down again.
Yep. What I want to do is I want to, when we get all the way down, just have it bounce all the way back up. But we could totally do what you're saying. We could have it go up slowly. Yes. myView.transform. We're going to do that on Monday. Yeah. Come on, buddy. Damn, it doesn't want to let me do that. Aram, why not? Help me out. Is it? Come on, tell me what you expect. Let's look around. It's not just y. It's something to do with other things. I'm going to say the middle y should be equal to that. I hope that works. Damn, no. No. I probably have to set up the frame all over again. I could say, for my view, doesn't this stuff suck? Frame is a CG rect. The X is that stuff. The Y is our original Y. So this is where I might say original Y. I hope that works. But I gotta get this value. Equal to y dot y. Come on, buddy. Oh. For this guy? That makes sense. I hope it sets that value now. Oh no. Value of type CGY. It's a CG float. I'll make it a CG float. Oh, what is this .y thing? This is the thing I was looking for. Build failed. Can I get an error? There we go. Where'd my error keep going? Come back. There we go. Come back. There we go. Oh my god. No, I don't think it's Xcode. There we go. Error, please. Argument X does not match any available overloads. Nah, I just had a paren in the wrong place. Oh man. Let's just make a new CG rect. Sorry, friends. CG rect with the values X. Let's make them with CG floats. Self.myButton.frame.min_x. Y. No, let me just steal all this crap. Min_x is going to be original Y. Height is going to be 100. Width is going to be 100. Y is going to be original Y. This is really annoying and hard to look at. How do you all feel about this? You don't like it? I also don't. I got to capture it inside of a closure. Damn. There's so much going into this building rectangles thing. If only there was a better way. Strengths. I got to capture this thing. Oh, man. Sure love closures. Come on, buddy. All right, let's run it. All right, I hope this works. Do that. Do that. Whoa. Say cute. It did go higher because what we were moving before was based on the top of my view. But now we are saying, look at the middle of my view. I want it to be the max Y. The most Y we can get. So the furthest down on the screen it can go. 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 Go back up. Go. 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 Ah, the numbers are different. Go back up. All right, here's the thing. It's doing some cool stuff, right? What if we wanted to just do all that without us? Are you ready? We wanted to do all that stuff when I press the button once. I'm feeling lazy. What we can do is there are actually multiple animate functions. Animate with duration and completion handler. So I could do something based on that animation. I could, like, again, it's a closure. I could add numbers. I could send a picture to my mom. I could do whatever I want. And also do something with a whole bunch of settings. So let's say I've got an animation that'll last a second. I can put a delay on it. I can put these options on it, which we'll talk about in just a second. I'm going to put all that stuff we just did inside of this closure here for animations. because when we were using the we don't need that anymore. So on the right out of the box, come on, animate. The out of the box one, animations was that unnamed closure. But now, because we're going to have two closures, completion and animations, they're both named. Or if you actually use completion, it wouldn't have to be named, it'd be a trailing closure syntax. Delay, if I've got a decimal value, you have to put 0 point that thing if it's less than 1. We're using all these coding skills that we've been working on for 4 months. Incredible, in my opinion. Oh no, where's my view? Agreed. Where'd you go, buddy? Okay. All right, it's gonna wait 0.4 seconds and then do the same thing. Nice. Each time I press it, it waits a little while. And it goes and it does that thing. All right, that's cool. Keep going. You probably fixed those coordinates. I want to show you 2 more pretty cool, important things. You ready? All right. These options, let's look at that. Options. Gonna be something called a UI view animation option. These are things that you can tell it to do. UI view dot animation option dot that thingy. You can go look up what all these are, maybe in your own time. But here are 2 pretty helpful, important ones. There's just one called repeat. What do you think it's going to do? Yeah, it's just going to repeat that thing. So it's kind of like a while loop, or a repeat while loop. Oh, damn. Interesting. So it's just going to keep doing this. That stinks. Oh well. It's because we've built into this that it should just repeatedly do the stuff up here. The changes are not permanent in our repeat. It's weird. We can't set a variable outside here saying my number is equal to original y and do all this stuff. It feels like a while loop, but it's just going to do the same changes over and over based on the conditions before this animate was called. That's weird, right? So it's not actually decreasing the frame's origin y continuously. It is just looking at my view. It is saying, hey, where'd you start out? So each time it's repeating, it's looking at my view's original frame. It's not like a while loop where it's doing the math for us. Instead, it's just repeating whatever we did at the beginning, which is weird. Adam,
I have several questions.
ask him.
My first one is like, how would we, I'm trying to go what she was back, but you know, so how much does this impact our goal of like our app? Like, are you something that the big store or anything like that, like as far as putting more power on the app?
Like using more computing power?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
So it's like how many things can we
Yeah. So what's that doing to the main thread?
What do you mean with that? This?
Yeah, so say this animation lasted for 3 seconds. What couldn't you do in the UI?
Oh, you take my testing
Yeah.
images.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the main thread is, it's not locked, but it's occupied for those whole 3 seconds. So 1, 2, 3.
And during that time, you set something else to load.
You could do that. But in terms of computing power, it's probably using up a lot more than your typical app.
Okay. And then the other question was, can you animate like the scrolling of like a user like
Yeah. So a lot of like the delegate methods in your table views and collection views, you've seen like their descriptions are do XYZ animated : bool. And those are saying, should we animate this? You could actually subclass those and say, what kind of animation? You could subclass plenty of things. Levi.
Hidden in your comment there, animation is a lot of computing power.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Maybe avoid it if you don't need it. Yeah. I'd say relative to the rest of the stuff we're doing, like animations, your phones are really, really durable devices. You can animate a bunch of things at once, but don't overload on animations. I'd say the bigger issues are locking up the main thread for that entire time, where you're occupying it for 3 seconds here. Yeah. Dang. All right. So this is only dropping down the screen without any values changing. This was a really good idea when we didn't know about repeat. I really liked it. I'm going to comment it out for now because what we can actually do is let me make sure not to kill that. Here's what we can also do. Let's see what happens when we do this. I think it'll look pretty similar. Push the button. Push the button. Yep, same thing. I want to make it bounce really high and go back to really low. I'm going to change this duration to 1.2. I don't know, just making up numbers. I'm going to say each time it does that, it should go down 700 points. Then go all the way back up. That's really exciting. Something that's built in here is another option called, come on, my friend. Oh, it's called auto reverse. What do you think that does? So in terms of what you see, what do you think that's going to make happen? So, yeah.
it's going to do exactly what Sunny was just saying. When it goes down, it goes back up. So it's
Yep.
increments that way.
So it's going to do everything that changes here in reverse. So we changed the Y position right now by 700. We've added it. It's just going to try to roll that back. It's all built into this option. Are you ready? All right. Falls down, goes back up. Falls down, goes back up. Falls down, goes back up. Damn. What's something weird that's going on though? It's not stopping, which like makes sense, but it's going past the bounds of our view. Yeah, I told it to. How did I tell it to? Oh, how did you know it's bigger than the view? It counted when we were doing it before. All right, how do you think we could measure to make sure? Mm-hmm. Oh, where is that? We don't have a storyboard. Dang. What do you think that was called? Because everything in your storyboard can be found in your code. Let's see. Let's try out some things. Self.view.frame. I don't know. Width? Height? Let's see. Let's play around with our rectangles. Oh man.
Going the entire setting it to whatever the whole height of the screen is.
Oh man.
That whole
Interesting. So maybe I need to do some math. Say something like myView.frame.height. The whole width of the screen minus the height. Do you think that's going to work? Sorry, the whole height of the screen. No. What else do we need to take into account? If we are changing the position, let me stop it. Yeah. So if we were saying increase its y value by the whole screen's value, we also have to take into account this part of the screen and the size of the thing and the frame of the view. It's getting kind of annoying, right? Does anyone know about a better option? What do you think would be easier to do with views relative to each other? I love it. Constraints. Because instead we have to say the size of the view minus the size of the thing, and then minus whatever this stuff is. And honestly, I don't really think there's an easy way for us to measure. Maybe we could do minus the y. Oh, we could probably just use the y position. All right. So self.myView.frame. Come on, buddy. Let's see. The height minus the size of the thing minus the starting y position of the thing. Can we make it bounce fully in the screen? Ready? Hey! We did some math and we made it all work. Who likes math? Is Tishna likes math? Well, we just did some math and we made it work, but it was a lot of work. You could totally do this for programmatic UI. It's a lot of keeping track of where things are relative to each other, which we already have something built in that does that. It's called an NS constraint. Pretty cool, because now we don't have to measure, we don't have to say, what's this space, what's that space, how big is this? But our thing bounces, and that's pretty cool. So I'm into it. That's our intro to animations. Here's a repeating animation that auto-reverses. Adam, what's your question?
Is this like issues like this, is this where like you watch this have to be bringing it? Well, I haven't.
Yeah, none of us have done UI tests, including myself. But I think the goal of the UI test is that your things are where they should be, so your views lay out in the right way, that might involve constraints or measurements again. But I think UI test is something we'd probably save until, I don't know, 2020, the year that's not right now. What are some questions you have about our bouncing ball? Our beautiful bouncing ball. All right, we did it, guys. So after lunch, probably not at 2 o'clock. Let me just check. I'm gonna stop recording this.